What is happening, Internet? Welcome back to the O1 channel, and breaking news tonight, BATGIRL Casting Battle. Who will play Babs? Will she be tokenized? Probably, but Isabella is probably the best contender, and I'm going to tell you guys why. But if this was a, normal superhero casting, the character that most looked like the comic book character would be Zoey here. Who, I have no idea who Zoey Deutch? Deutch? Deutch. We'll go with Deutch. I have no idea who Zoey is, other than the fact she was in Zombie Land, one of those movies where they kill zombies. She's done some action roles. She also has a lot of comedic grit, but so does Isabel. The Leslie Grace actress is kind of a surprise for the running because she comes from the failed movie The Heights, which was a flop for Warner Brothers. And usually when an actress is attached to a movie that bombs, they don't get rushed into a brand new blockbuster film right away, which leads me to believe, and I'm just speculating, I have no proof of this, they're still doing casting. They'll have the final round of casting probably by August. I would say right around the time that Barbara Gordon is going to appear in Titan Season 3, which is going to be fire, by the way. Very, very cool show. Jason Todd is going to die by the Joker, except you're not going to see the Joker's face, just like in Season 1. But the crowbar scene will be in it, and Jason Todd has his actual Red Hood origin, and it's based on the whole Red Hood under the Red Hood storyline. So they're doing really good with that. It's mostly a Batman season, but the reason why they're probably going to announce the BATGIRL casting in August is because they did the same thing to Grant when he was announced as the Flash for the CW. Literally like a month later, Ezra Miller was announced as the Flash for DC Films. So they're going to want to start really pushing the whole BATGIRL thing as quickly as possible. And most likely, she is going to be tokenized. Even Zoey is probably the most ideal fan casting. That's how you know it's not going to happen. Nothing against Zoey. 5 years ago, would have been an amazing Batgirl. But it's most likely going to be Isabella. That's who I'm leaning with, because both actresses, the Ginger and Isabella, have like a lot of action roles under their belt. Isabella Merced was in, I'm going to get this wrong, Transformers Last Night, I think, a 2017 Transformers movie. So she had to do a lot of running and dodging explosions and all this other stuff. She's had a couple comedic roles. She also was the live-action Dora the Explorer, which is actually kind of a fun family film, and she did most of her own stunts, so she could pull off Babs. Zoey, of course, is from the Zombie Land stuff. If you like those type of really intense zombie movies, she kind of stole the show of the last zombie movie away from the guy from... It's not the guy from Cheers, is it? I don't know. I can't remember. He's some guy, Woody something, I think. But I don't really watch
Woody
those.
Allen?
No, not Woody Allen. Wouldn't be Woody Allen. I forget his name. But it most likely, yeah.
I don't watch zombies.
I'm leaning toward Isabella out of all the other stuff. If they go with Leslie, I have no idea what Warner Discovery is doing, because The Heights bombed. There's so much controversy involved with The Heights. The only way that they would be able to push Leslie Grace as Batgirl is it would be off controversy again, which DC Films Twitter people would be at war again, and then the entire movie, the whole budget would just be based around controversy again. And I'm kind of sick of it. I'm sick of like all the fighting and infighting with DC casting, and just like what happened with Henry Cavill supposedly losing the role of Superman to a POC, and all the war involved with fans going at it. It just, I don't know. I don't think that the other Superman film without Henry Cavill is going to be a success. If they tokenize Batgirl with the wrong actress attached to it, like the person who bombed the Heights movie, then I just see that being a wasted opportunity for Batgirl. Isabella, on the other hand, I understand that she is, I'm going to say this wrong, either Mexican or Spanish, one or the other. A Latina, I guess, would kind of cover my bases there. Hispanic lady. So she would probably fit that bill perfectly. and she also has the acting chops to back it up, and she has some of her own stunts. What's good about Batgirl is Batgirl is a character that is both comedic, she's intelligent, she's strong, and she can hold her own in a fight if she has to. So, two actresses that I've picked come to mind. Zoey and Isabella would be the top running for this, but a lot of people, especially on Twitter, are leaning toward that Warner Brothers is going to side with Leslie because Leslie is a Warner Brothers actress, which, yeah, I mean, they tend to go with Warner Brothers stuff, and the Heights movie was a Warner Brothers film, even though it didn't do well. So it's very weird that old Warner Media, not Warner Discovery, Warner Media would definitely lean toward Leslie as Batgirl because of the controversy, because of banking off like people's rage and people doing all this free publicity on YouTube by making all these angry videos saying, oh, I can't believe they cast so-and-so as Batgirl and nobody's going to see this movie, and Warner Brothers just sitting there counting their money like, this is free advertising. You know, we don't care if the fans are killing themselves. I mean, our movie is still being talked about, and we're not even filming it yet. That's what they use YouTubers for. If drama channels think different, then they're not very smart. No offense to drama channels. I don't really watch stuff like that, but I know they exist, and I know that they're probably going to be running with this for who knows how long. But if it was an ideal Batgirl casting, then Zoey would win. But the fact that Twitter is saying they really want Zoey to win, and the fans are really pulling for Zoey to win, I just don't see it happening. I don't think that is going to occur. And as much as I want Isabella to get the role, probably not going to happen either. Just because whoever the fans really rally behind, that's the one that Warner Brothers is going to say no. Because, well, I mean, old Warner Brothers. In a perfect world, I really believe that Discovery, who wants to make money, and Warner Media just wants to tick people off and, you know, check off check marks, like for certain people to put in the movies, so they can just check it off and get claps and stuff from Twitter. Even though they've already done studies, Discovery handed a very big dossier to Warner Media after they bought them, and they were like, hey, you know all those Twitter people that you're trying to appease? They're not the general audience. Stop that. This is supposed to be a Warner Brothers Discovery thing, so I really believe that the best actress who does well should get the casting, as well as the one that has the background for it, the action movies and the stunts and the comedic stuff. Because if you look at the two actresses, Isabella and Zoey, they both have the type of acting chops to pull this off. Whereas Leslie, the Heights movie is mostly a musical with a little bit of comedy, but it doesn't really have like the action-oriented stuff in it. So, I mean, yes, there was a Batgirl from the 60s, Yvonne Craig, I believe was her name. She was a dancer. She did the Batgirl stuff. People loved it. But I think that it's important that Batgirl is able to fit all these categories, because this is a Batgirl who could show up in Chris McKay's Nightwing movie, which is back on, supposedly. He says it's back on, but that's up to Warner and Discovery. Just like, what's his name? Zack Snyder is looking and seeing what Warner Discovery is going to do too, because he's been talking to people like, well, I really don't know what's going on. I mean, I have no plans for this, but, you know, Snyderverse could continue somehow. Whereas before, you know, the Warner Discovery thing, he was always anti-Warner Brothers everything. He's going to do a bunch of stuff on Netflix. And now, like, everything is changing. More companies are talking about other aspects of DC films that was a no-go before. There are talks about Martian Manhunter stuff and The Atom and all this other stuff flying around now that has been squashed dead for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So you hear all kinds of different mummerings. And the Nightwing stuff is the one that I'm paying the most attention to, because reasons, kind of based, but whatever. And really following a lot of stuff that Chris McKay is talking about. So you need to cast an actress that can keep up with whoever he makes Nightwing. Because, you know, they're going to have to be athletic. They're going to have to really, really push the actress very, very hard. And, you know, they're not going to be able, just like what the horrible casting with Batwoman with Kate Kane. It was a very demanding role. Ruby Rose couldn't keep up, you know, with all the stunts and all the fighting and all the other stuff. It just wasn't a good mix for her. And then she, you know, made up all this other stuff that happened on set that never did. But it was a very demanding role that she probably never should have put herself into in the first place, because superhero roles, there's a lot that comes out of that. It's not just you put on the suit and then that's it, and the stunt people take over. There's a lot of stuff involved where you, the actor, have to go through stuff. Ben Affleck did, Henry Cavill, the girl playing Supergirl is also going through like rigorous stuff, you know. So it needs to be expected with that. So whoever they cast as Batgirl, they need to be super committed to the role. And the only actresses that I see fitting that bill right now is Zoey and Isabel because of what their previous roles were. Dora the Explorer, surprisingly, had a lot of stuff involved with that movie. I did see it a couple years ago. It came out in 2019. It was a fun family flick. You know, it's cute. But she did most of her own stuff, and it was pretty cool to see Dora, if you watched Dora when she was knee-high or whatever, grow up into kind of like this spy-type character. It was pretty neat. The zombie stuff with Zoey. Zoey was doing a lot of action-oriented things, and, you know, it works. So we'll see what happens. I'm leaning toward August is when they're going to make like a final announcement. There's a casting battle going right now. One actress has already dropped out. I'm going to say her name wrong, but she's an upcoming star, Haley something or other. She passed the baton, and it's between these three actresses right now. And what Twitter is hoping that Zoey will drop out, and then it'll be between Leslie and Isabella. But I think Zoey's in it for the long haul. So we'll just see who the directors picked. And the final casting is supposed to be happening by the end of the summer. Like I said, they're really going to want to push as much Barbara Gordon stuff as possible because of Barbara appearing as Oracle, not Batgirl, in the upcoming Titans show. And if you guys have seen the trailer, you understand that that version of Barbara is much older. And she's Oracle, she's paralyzed, and she's also Commissioner Gordon. So they're going a different route with the Titans stuff. This one will basically be like a Batgirl Year One thing, according to the synopsis that we have for the first Batgirl movie, because they do want to do a trilogy, and the first picture or miniseries will be on HBO Max. That's already been green-lighted. Now they're just finalizing some of the casting stuff. But what they're doing with the story, it really sounds like they're going the Batgirl Year One route. So last I heard, Garfield Lynns has been attached to it as a character. So Firefly from Batgirl Year One. Commissioner Gordon is in it. They're recasting Commissioner Gordon to be much older. So it's not going to be the same Commissioner Gordon that was in the Matt Reeves Batman movie. I know Twitter's kind of stupid, and they're thinking, well, because Commissioner Gordon is, you know, African American in Matt Reeves' movie, that means Leslie has the role. No, it doesn't, because they're recasting Commissioner Gordon in the Batgirl movie. So this is a multiverse, or this could be a DCEU movie. No one knows at this point. But J.J. Simmons is out. So if you were thinking that J.J. Simmons would be Commissioner Gordon to Zoey, if Zoey gets it, but like I said, probably get used to disappointment, because Zoey's not going to get it most likely. I hate to be that guy. I know there are a lot of people that are rooting for her. She is the most comic accurate version of the character in terms of looks right now. I mean, that is a picture of her right there. She looks like Batgirl. She has the talent to back it up, you know, but it doesn't work that way anymore. You have to, for Hollywood, you know, it's got to be something different. But anyway, back to the whole synopsis. With Garfield Lynns, what they're going to do, which I find kind of interesting, they're kind of going the Batgirl Year One route, but they're changing it a little bit. Those of you familiar with the New 52 stuff know that Garfield Lynns had his origin changed quite a bit. This one is based on not necessarily a pyro that was in the movies, like, because remember, Lynns in the 90s and the 80s, he was a special effects guy who had it out for his, or not his, it was the co-star, the female co-star of the movie. Some stuff happened. Lynns and her didn't end well. Lynns went crazy and basically tried to kill everybody with fire. And that was one of his origins. And they kind of showed that in the animated series, Season 3, or 4. It'd be Season 4, New Batman, Superman Adventures. So that was Garfield Lynns' thing when they brought Firefly in. The New 52, if I'm not mistaken, Garfield Lynns is a older gentleman who is a firefighter who lost his job and due to third-degree burns, I believe. So Lynns looks really gross, in the New 52. The description for the character actor that they're looking to play Garfield Lynns is a retired firefighter who has a lot of burns all over his body. So that's Firefly, more or less. Other characters that are attached to the Batgirl movie, we don't know. The only ones that are in the running right now are, of course, Barbara Gordon, Commissioner Gordon. I think her mom might be in it, or her brother, which is weird whenever they bring James Gordon into it, like the evil kid brother. But I suppose he could be a bad guy later. We don't know how many GCPD officers are going to be in it, if at all. I mean, I'm guessing they'll probably introduce Renee Montoya again, or they might bring in the Renee Montoya from the Harley Quinn movie, maybe for some consistency. Or, like I said, this could be an Elseworlds multiverse movie. They are really, really, really going to push the multiverse stuff. Like, you have no idea. As soon as the Flash movie comes out next year, they are really going to push multiverse stuff. You're going to get lots of different WB pictures, or excuse me, Warner Discovery pictures that are going to be heavily multiverse. They're not really all going to be connected to the DCEU. DCEU, connection-wise, you'll have Shazam, Black Adam, Aquaman, maybe Wonder Woman 3, and whatever happens with The Flash. But everything that I'm hearing about the Flash movie is it is a soft reboot of the DCEU. Something is going to happen to Ben Affleck. He's not necessarily going to die. He's going to change, supposedly, which I thought I talked about this theory before, but I never got to do a podcast on it. The running thing going around is that Ben Affleck is going to become Michael Keaton somehow. I don't know how, but everybody is waiting to see on set if Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck are both wearing the same blue Bruce Wayne suit to kind of tie that theory together, which would make sense because Keaton doesn't really have fancy cars in his Batman movies. Ben Affleck has fancy cars as Bruce Wayne because he's kind of vain and out there, and Michael Keaton is super vain as Batman, and he's got his really, bat-centric gadgets that are much more grandiose than the stuff that Ben uses, which are more like militant, kind of like Christian Bale. So it's like two different types of Bruce Waynes. So everybody's really, really trying very hard because Ben's filming right now his Batman stuff over in England, and it's very hard to get a picture of Ben. And as soon as somebody gets a picture of Ben as Bruce Wayne, then the whole thing will just unravel, But one of the key things that's going on with the Flash movie, just to jump topics a little bit, is there's been a picture that's leaked of Ezra Miller with his hair longer, not wearing his Flash costume, looking very disheveled, which is leading people to believe that Flash has gone back in time, lost his powers, ended up on Keaton's Earth somehow, and Keaton brings him back to the Batcave. So that's one of the things that's a possibility. Although I thought Flash was probably going to have his, powers the whole movie, but since the movie's called Flashpoint, as far as I know, he's going to save his mom, lose his powers, and then there's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff about him getting his powers back, most likely. And Keaton and Supergirl will probably help with that and some other stuff. But back to the Batgirl stuff. I was surprised by the announcement, especially when I saw that there was actually a ginger attached to the role, because Hollywood and gingers just never really works out. You can look at all the ginger casting characters that have been race swapped, like within the past 5 years. Wally West, Starfire, Iris West, Mary Jane from Spider-Man. Even though she's not Mary Jane, but they still call her MJ. I think they should have had the Stones to still call her Mary Jane but Disney's like, no, she's not really MJ. She's MJ, but she's not MJ. So it would be amazing because Babs is like one of the biggest comic book gingers of all time. I just have a feeling that she's going to be the one to be tokenized. And a lot of people do. I've been talking to people off and on all day, getting texts from different pictures people and things like that. And they're telling me that it's most likely going to be Isabella or Leslie, even though Leslie is not really as qualified as Isabella or Zoey. And also she has that whole thing hanging over her about the Heights not doing well. And that's a huge risk to Discovery at the moment, because what Discovery should do in order to improve the actress's reputation from that, bomb of a movie is you need to quickly put her in not a blockbuster, but like a teen drama or some type of like leading role that can be fast-tracked right and be successful, and then push her to be like some type of superhero thing if DC Films wants to use her. Right now, they only have 2 actresses because the Haley chick bailed in favor of possibly a POC casting. Nobody really knows what Haley's doing. She was a shoo-in for a while ago, but she kind of just jumped ship. I think it was this week, because the casting battle has been going on for about a week now, supposedly, and only really 3 actresses are still in the running. And Zoey kind of is still attached to it, but she's probably going to bow out in favor of Isabella or Leslie, because that's just how Hollywood works these days. But yeah, speaking of Leslie, what I would do is find some type of really good PR, I don't know, like some type of teen drama, or maybe like a Netflix movie or something that they can fast track right away and get it in there, get it to be a hit. You want to put as much distance between the heights as possible, because basically with the heights, the studio and the actors are blaming the audience for not going to see the movie because the movie was crap. When in reality, they just can't like suck it up and be like, oh wow, we made a movie that wasn't very good. We shouldn't take it out on the people who are actually buying our product, because the Crazy Rich Asians movie was actually really good, but it didn't get enough PR. Unlike the Heights movie, which got a ton of PR and it was garbage film. So it's the opposite for the same person who made both movies. Like Crazy Rich Asians was a amazing movie, a lot of fun. Nobody watched it, and it would have done really well if it actually had people go and see it. Whereas this one had all the intention, all the eyes on it, and it's still, you know, that's what happens. But then you don't go and blame the people who actually went and saw the movie and say all these terrible things. There's so much controversy involved with that movie. And the poor guy who even made the movie has people coming after him because he didn't do enough representation in the movie. You got the wheelchair people after him. You got the blind people. And all these different groups are just attacking him for not making it diverse enough when it was supposed to be kind of like a Latino, poor neighborhood thing musical. It wasn't supposed to be all this other stuff. But, once you make one of these movies, you have to put everybody in it, or they come after you like some type of assassin or hitman. So, yeah, right now, Leslie needs to get into a project that's not a big blockbuster and have that do uber well so that she can be cast in anything effortlessly. She doesn't have the same problem she has more problems right now than Zoey and Isabella, because those two are actually doing really, really well in terms of the different projects they've been attached to within the past, 2 years. So either one of those would make a great casting. And yeah, I would definitely like it to be Zoey, but Zoey's actually older than the Isabella actress by I think, let me get this right. Pretty sure Zoey is 27 or 28. And Isabella is maybe, 24, 25-ish. I don't really know how old she was when she did the Dora movie. But I'm thinking that she is definitely the younger of the actresses that are vying for this role. I don't know how old Leslie is, or Haley. I only briefly saw, because I was comparing the filmography of Zoey and Isabella, because they're the ones that are kind of parallel to Barbara Gordon. I think both of them could make a really good Barbara Gordon because of their comedic talent. They've both been in movies that I've seen that are really, really funny. And the actresses both, they slay when it comes to comedy. You need that with Barbara. Barbara is not like this Captain Marvel character that never smiles and just anti-men and all this other garbage. Barbara is a fun character that's filled with life and excitement, and she likes being a crime fighter. Look at her comic book picture. She's smiling crime fighting. She is enjoying what she does, even though there are bats flying all over her. She's a very light-hearted, fun character. Isabella and Zoey would both bring that to the role, whereas if they went with Haley or Leslie, they would go more the Batwoman, very grumpy role, which just doesn't really work well because we're going to get a very grumpy Supergirl in the Flash movie. So it'd be nice to have like an actual happy Batgirl that both Isabella or Zoey could bring to the table. And both versions of Batgirl between either actress would be very different. Zoey's type of comedy is very different than Isabella. Isabella is more like a what type of comedian would I say she is? She does a lot of slapstick stuff. Like she does some good jabs, you know, for the humor stuff. But the movies that I've seen that she's in terms of the comedies, they're very 90s-ish humor. 90s, 80s, kids comedy type stuff. Zoey's is more like intelligent one-liner type stuff that would be good banter with a Nightwing character, but not everybody would probably get that style of humor. With Zoey, the Batgirl that you would see is basically the Batgirl that would be on HBO Max's Titans, or rather retired Batgirl, which the actress who's playing Babs, I can't really remember her name. I don't really know a lot of the stuff that she's in for the Titans, and I haven't really done my Titans thing yet because I've just been so busy I can hardly ever get over here to do stuff. So apologies, my bad. But the banter between her and Nightwing, that's the banter that Zoey would be able to do because that's the type of, you know, comedic roles that she's had. She's a very chatty type character, which I believe is part of the reason why her Zombie Land character did really well. I can't really confirm that because I haven't seen the Zombie Land, whatever sequel it's called, because I don't like zombie movies. I don't like zombies. I don't like zombie movies. So I'm not going to go out of my way and watch an R-rated zombie movie with zombie brains and gore and violence and stuff because it's not my thing. But everybody's still singing her praises in the movie, and she wasn't even like the starring character, but she stole the role. When you have an actress that steals the role, that's when you want to fast track that person's career. So Zoey, she should have her career fast tracked to become Batgirl because she would give us the comic book version. I think that Isabella would give us probably the animated series version of Batgirl. A mixture of, you know, slapstick comedy, some good zingers, and a lot of acrobatic stuff. I really believe that Isabella is a lot more physical actress in terms of like what she would be able to do with not using a stunt double all the time, just based on some of the stuff we've seen in Transformers and Dora the Explorer, which was kind of interesting because Babs is a character that is acrobatic. She is a gymnast. So that's why she and Nightwing work so well together. But I guess we'll find out what happens. I mean, they're going to cast whoever they want. I hope that Warner Media has kind of learned their lesson and they're not going to go the controversial route because that stuff's kind of becoming a very slow song and dance. If you look at what happened with the Black Widow movie, I can tell you this right now. The Black Widow movie is not necessarily woke. They tokenized Taskmaster, which is really ticking off a lot of comic book fans. And some of the stars are fighting with comic fans and Marvel fans, which is not really doing the best PR for the movie. But for the most part, even though the movie isn't as bad as some of the ones that are coming, minus the really cool, I can never say his name right, the martial artist who helped Spidey, the Mandarin's rival guy. I don't read enough of his comics to know, but it's Shang something. I don't think his movie's going to be too bad, but the movies that are going to come after that are just going to be heroes in name only. And I think people are starting to get that, and they're pulling a little bit away from the MCU a little bit, because the Black Widow, I guess people heard stuff that was going to be, you know, super woke or whatever, and it wasn't. It was a decent action movie that made some pretty crazy choices with Taskmaster and Black Widow, basically making Black Widow like a super soldier when she isn't. She does some pretty insane stuff in the movie where it's like the people writing the movie were probably like, Black Widow's cool, she could probably survive jumping out of this. It's like, no, if she jumped off a building like that, pretty sure she would be dead. But okay, let's have her do all this stuff that's just not believable for her character. Steve or John or somebody else, even Sam with his jetpack, yeah, he could totally pull something like that off. Black Widow, no. So the fact that she does a lot of superhuman things and just it doesn't really feel like the same Natasha that people got to know in the MCU, or the old MCU, or the original MCU. I don't know what you want to call it. It's kind of had people turn off a little bit to the Black Widow movie, and it's not the commercial success right now that it's supposed to be. Usually by week 2 of a movie, the Marvel films are already crossing over into almost the $1 billion territory, after like 2-3 weeks. This movie, maybe it'll hit it, but I think that people's focus is kind of shifting away from that stuff a little bit. Even though, they sold a bunch of like pre-orders and they did all this other stuff, it's not succeeding as quickly as Marvel movies usually do. Even when you factor in that people can buy the movie through Disney Plus and all this other stuff. So I guess we'll see what happens with the MCU. I have no interest in seeing the movie after what I heard they did to Taskmaster personally. It just kind of feels like, if I'm just being honest, what they're doing with superhero movies right now is you got an executive, right? In a studio or whatever, guy in a suit, sitting there with a book, and there's a bunch of names there for comic book characters, right? Maybe a list of their powers, some gadgets, sidekicks, side characters, and that's it. There's not really enough information for the studios to do whatever. They're sitting over there with like somebody from Marvel or DC, and they're just like putting their hand over their eyes, and then they stick their finger in the book, and they look down, and they're like, can we use this character? And Marvel says, yep. Or DC, yep. Okay. What powers do they have? Oh, the powers are listed right there. Okay, cool. Do you need to know anything about their origin or some of their supervillains? Nah, I'm good. Does their race matter? I guess not. Okay, cool. I'm going to do whatever I want with that. Do you mind if I add this ability from this other hero to try to make this one look a little bit different? I mean, I guess you could. And that's pretty much what's happening. Most of these superheroes, which is kind of echoing a lot that I've heard from various like pictures people, like movie people, journalists, etc., is that they're just using the characters in name only going forward and not really doing that character properly anymore. Like, it's not necessarily about how the character is from the comics anymore. It's more like using the character's name, maybe a few of their powers, and just putting them in the movies. That's it. They don't really care about that other stuff because they believe they can do whatever they want, and it's going to put butts in the seats because it's the MCU. Or if, in DC's aspect, DC purposely casts controversial people so that they can bank on outrage to get people to come watch, like they did with the Batwoman show, and like they're probably going to do with the Batgirl stuff, although I don't know. I want to be devil's advocate and say, yeah, Zoe on the cover there, not going to happen. But I'm not factoring Discovery, because Discovery is a monster. Discovery likes to make money. Warner Media likes to make outrage. They don't work well together. In fact, Discovery is the boss of Warner Media now that's like been Pac-Man, like chomp, So all these projects coming out, like Blue Beetle, Batgirl, all this other stuff, it's supposed to be Warner Discovery from now on, not Warner Media. Warner Media is supposed to be absolved and digested inside the belly of Pac-Man, which is Discovery. It all depends who they keep on and who they fire, though. So, I mean, nobody really knows what's going to happen. There are people that are speculating that it's going to be this actress, or it's going to be this actress, or this actress did really well in the screening. All we know right now is they're doing 3 actresses at the moment that they're really heavily screening. And those are the ones they announced. They made an announcement this morning that there were 4, but the 4th one bowed out 2 days ago, actually. But they were still circulating her name when she said she dropped the project or whatever, supposedly. And she would have been a good fit for the role, I guess. I don't really know any stuff that she's in other than that she's a ginger. So you had 2 gingers and only 1 ginger, and you have 2 other actresses that are not gingers. And if either one of those actresses, Leslie or Isabella, gets the role, neither one of them will probably be a ginger, because somebody will make a stink about it and say, oh no, if you have them as the role, you can't have them dye their hair because that's wrong. You can't do that in 2021, which is why the Supergirl probably, why she doesn't have blonde hair, and why Starfire doesn't really have red hair. Although I've heard that in Titan Season 3, there is a transformation sequence sometime during the season where we see the orange skin, the green eyes, and the red hair, although the red hair is kind of like pinkish fire or something. So that there's some type of mental blocks involved with Corey in the Titan show that's preventing her from being Starfire, which will happen probably because there's going to be intergalactic space travel, whatever you want to call it. They're going to start the show in Gotham, and then as they progress, they're going to get to the Tamaranian stuff, which will lead into season 4 and all this other stuff, probably. And that's when Donna Troy is coming back and Raven midway through season 3, supposedly. Because Donna right now is pushing up daisies. And the focus is going to be Starfire, Dick, Jason for a little bit. And then he comes back. Tim, Bruce is only in 1 or 2 episodes, which if you've seen the trailer, you know why. Barbara Gordon is going to have a big role in most of the season. And Beast Boy and Superboy have a somewhat decent role at the beginning. But then Beast Boy is going to be kind of phased out, unfortunately. Beast Boy is going to have less to do this year than he did last year, which sucks if you're a fan of the actor playing Beast Boy and stuff like that. He's being sidelined again. And at least last year, he got kind of an arc with Connor, Superboy. This year, haven't heard a lot of good stuff. I heard a lot of stuff about Tim and Barbara and Dick and Starfire. A little bit of Hawk and Dove stuff, but it's going to be interesting. I'm still excited because people were like, hey, are you really down with Titans Season 3 being about Batman stuff? I just kind of smile. I'm like, oh, I'm totally based. I'm super biased. I'm totally fine with a season being mostly about Batman. I'm good. It doesn't bother me. There are people like, this is a Titan show. It's like, nah, it's not this season. This year, you're getting the Under the Red Hood story, and you're going to like it, and it's going to be good, and we're going to get a Red Hood spinoff. You watch. Going to get a Red Hood spinoff on HBO Max. I'm calling it. It's going to happen. It's going to be good. I'll save your super chats to the end. I'll get to them. We'll do a round of questioning, and then I'm going to go over to Twitch. What time is it? Is it time for Twitch yet? No, it's not time for Twitch yet. So what else can we talk about these ladies? We talked about Zoe, talked about Isabella, talked about Leslie. I don't want to talk about the Haley person because she's out, supposedly. She's done. So it leads to 3 actresses. We already talked about synopsis. There's not a lot to go by right now. Speculation on when they actually make the casting announcement. I already said August or probably DC Fandom. I would say DC Fandom would probably be the biggest thing that they could push, but I just see Warner Brothers as a creature of habit. They kind of stole Grant's thunder when they did the Ezra Miller casting, not long after they had his show start or whatever, and everybody was talking about the possibility of a Flash movie with Ezra Miller because Ezra Miller was the it boy. Like everybody was talking about Ezra. And it took away from Grant. Poor Grant, who had an amazing first season as the Flash. But it feels like they're going to do it again and take away from the live-action HBO Max Barbara Gordon talking about the HBO Max movie Batgirl. That makes the most sense to do that, to kind of like piggyback off the other show to push the other thing, you know? And since the Flash is finishing up production, I think they've got about like 2 or 3 weeks left. They should be done filming by August 17th, I think is what the last I heard. Ben Affleck's stuff is supposed to be done before August. Keaton he might still be there, but I don't think so. I don't think Ben and Keaton are going to share any screen time together, which sucks. But most of the stuff that I've seen and I've heard about is Ben and Keaton are going to have separate things, because originally Keaton was afraid of the whole COVID stuff and was very guarded. He had a little tent that he sat in between stuff with his chair that said Keaton. Although I think there was a little tag on the back that just said Batman. That was Keaton's chair. He had his own little tent away from everybody else. Not that he was being a prima donna. He's terrified of getting the virus because he's 70 or 69, 70 years old. So, yeah, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. I want to be one of those guys that says Hollywood is going to do the right thing this time and give us a real Batgirl, real Ginger, the most famous Ginger superhero. I just feel like this is the one that they really want to tokenize. This is the one they really, Hollywood really wants to do it to. And then they're going to call everybody horrible names if you're not okay with it. Doesn't matter if you want the character to look like the comic book. You are a bad person if you are not okay with the casting. If it happens, you watch. You watch. There's going to be a Twitter war again. And I'm honestly, I'm tired of controversy. I don't like it. It's draining. It's boring. It rips up comic book fandoms, and it's one of the key reasons why I don't do a lot of Batman movies and stuff right now, and reactions to castings and all this other crap, because it's like, it's so taboo, and it's just like, if you say the wrong thing, canceled, or websites made about you, and cherry picking your tweets and all this other stuff. It's just like, wow, people, get a hobby. But yeah, it's just not worth my time, honestly. So I guess I want what the internet wants. Twitter seems to be in favor of Zombie Girl as Batgirl. I say give her a shot. She looks like her cool. But if they side with Isabella, I think Isabella can do a fantastic job. I just think that Leslie and Haley could not. Just based on what I've seen of their work and the climate and all the other stuff going on. Both actresses, I don't think they would really get Babs very well. It seems that Zoey and Isabella would be pretty good fit because the character's not too much of a far departure from their acting styles. That's my 2 cents. So I wish the actresses well, and I guess we'll see who survives the casting battle to the death, if they did that kind of thing, but they don't. It's just like agents kind of going at each other on phones and trying to see who's the best fit with the director. Maybe there's pocket money involved. I don't know. I don't know how casting works in Hollywood. Maybe they should make a movie like that. The only thing I remember is the producers, which was funny. So, all right. Let's open up the floor, and then I'm gonna get to Twitch, because yeah, I gotta go stream Zelda tonight, so I don't suck tomorrow. Let's see. How far back can we go? I'm gonna have to open up YouTube directly so I can see the super chats, because I only see the recent one. 1 second, guys. I'm old, tired, slow. Why can't this just be seamless? By the way, is the audio quality good, or do I sound like I'm whispering in a church? Let me know. I set up my Twitch stuff. This stream bitrate is bad according to YouTube. Wow, look at that. Wow, we had like 200 and something people, and then they just yanked like 130. Whoa. You guys got to see all these warnings I've got on here. That's a lot. That's a lot of warnings. I also can't see all the super chats. I'm gonna have to go somewhere else to open up another. Ooh, I got a warning. Stream warning. Current bitrate is too low. We recommend changing the bitrate, or you may experience buffering or shut off. Shut off? For what? For talking about Batgirl casting? Get out of here, YouTube. You're drunk. Talking about casting. Oh no! I talked about a Mexican and an African American. Cancel him! I didn't say anything mean. Too mean. I don't think. Where is my supers? There we go. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. I got him right here. I'm back, Uncle K-Wing. Did you miss me? Says Warrior of Justice. Sure. H Gaming. I'm late. I take Zoey, but I kind of like Leslie Grace. To each his own. And the other one is from Ian Stinson? I know this is unrelated, but I used to watch you all around 2012 when I was a kid, and now that I'm about 20, I'd like to show my support. Keep up the good Batman news. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. And then H Gaming again. Thank you for the super chat. Does Warner even have a plan for the DC universe? Will we eventually get story arcs or setups? Warner Media? No. No. Warner Media doesn't have a plan. No. They just don't. Snyder had a plan. It was a little out there and, very controversial, killing off a bunch of characters, sidelining a bunch of other future potential movies, but also creating other future movies, like Ryan Chow as the Atom and John Jones as Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, so that stuff was in the cards. But other things got shuffled out of the deck, like the Nightwing movie, the Harley Quinn and Joker thing, and some other things. I would like to say that Discovery wants to bring back the Snyderverse in some capacity, just like the Shazam director and Black Adam star and producer and big honcho, The Rock, wants the Snyderverse alive in some capacity. He wants to fight Darkseid. And he also wants to work with the Justice League, like the actual Justice League: Ezra Miller, Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot. I'm missing some people. Did I say Ezra Miller? Did I say Ray yet? Whatever. Jason Momoa. The actual Justice League that debuted in the theatrical and the Snyder cut, like on HBO Max. Like, he wants his Justice Society, which is going to have Pierce Brosnan and Hawkman. I can't remember the other casting for the Justice Society other than Black Adam and Pierce Brosnan. Dr. Fate is the only thing I care about from that. Hawkman is okay. I don't really remember the other people attached to it. Maybe they have Stargirl in it? I don't know. I know the Justice Society that's on the CW, but I can't recall the ones that are going to show up in Black Adam's 1 and 2. But apparently The Rock wants to have the Justice Society and the Justice League battle Darkseid together, whereas before it was just going to be the Justice League, all of Earth, the Green Lantern Corps, Atlantis, the Amazons, and a whole bunch of other people were going to rise up and fight Darkseid in the epic finale, and Batman was going to die. And some other stuff was going to happen. That's what Snyder wanted to do, like this major grand-scale Lord of the Rings thing, which apparently they're making a graphic novel that is being fan-made and fan-funded, and I might actually get behind that. I haven't decided yet. It all depends, like, who they put to the project and how good the art looks and what they're going to do with the story. But it's apparently happening. But maybe they, instead of doing the comic, they should do like an animated movie. I don't know. But no, I honestly don't believe Warner Brothers has a plan at all at this point. I think Discovery wants to have a plan, and that's why they're going to fast track things like Batgirl and Blue Beetle and oh gosh, what other movies did they have? The Nightwing movie, which is probably going to be a multiverse movie. Batgirl's going to be multiverse. The Green Lantern Corps thing is an HBO Max show. Did they announce? No, I don't think they did announce what I'm thinking. I just had a cool idea. They should have a Vixen movie to compete with the whole Black Panther thing, since they're probably going to make the sister Black Panther. Should have a Vixen movie. See, this is what studios don't get. If you're going to compete, you need to compete well. People want a cool African flick, like back in Wakanda. There's cool stuff in the comics for Vixen, and Vixen is a very interesting character in the DC world. They should make a Vixen movie like right away, real fast, on the budget. Go. They should get that Blue Beetle movie up as soon as possible too. There's a lot of things that they're just so slow about that Discovery is really going to pick up the pace, is what I feel. Just based on the transcript of the buyout of Warner Media and some of the things that Discovery was kind of chastising and, trolling Warner Media a couple months ago, saying, you have all these licensed properties that you're not doing anything with. We want to do stuff with them. We want to do stuff with games. We want to do stuff with movies. We want to do stuff with television. And if that's true, then I think DC fandom is going to be very interesting this year, as will San Diego Comic-Con if they're still doing that digital thing or that Thanksgiving thing. Because right now, Warner Brothers has, or not Warner Brothers, Marvel and Disney have all their cards out on the table for the next 2 years. Nobody knows what DC's doing outside of Shazam, Aquaman, Black Adam, now Batgirl, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it for DC. They're just talking about Batgirl, but now they're actually moving forward with casting. Although they already went through the casting song and dance before. What's her name? Nebula from the MCU was campaigning for the role of Batgirl to star and produce it and direct it like 2.5 years ago. And now they've gone in a different direction completely. The lady from Bumblebee is still attached and writing the script. The Bumblebee movie, which was kind of fun. And so that's why I think that the Batgirl movie is going to be fun and not dumb, because the Bumblebee movie had its action, but it also had its charm and humor. It was a fun movie. It was one of my favorite Transformers movies. Might actually be my favorite Transformers movie. Which is odd to hear me say that, because live-action Transformers is a thing, but I liked Bumblebee. And she's written another movie that I like, but I can't remember the name of it. I didn't like Birds of Prey. She did that. The fantabulous Birds of Prey thing. So, yeah, I can see how people would be worried about the Batgirl movie, because maybe it would be just as crazy as the Harley Quinn movie. But I like to think, because the script has been worked on before the Harley Quinn thing, because the Harley Quinn thing kind of pushed the Batgirl movie on the back burner for years, and they fast-tracked the Harley Quinn movie, and Margot Robbie got more creative with the story and had like so much control, the kind of control that Ben Affleck wanted with his Batman movie, that the studio said, no, you have to do this, and now Matt Reeves has to come in and do this, and Ben is just like, I'm out. Or though Matt Reeves was probably pushing Ben out anyway. But the whole Matt Reeves thing is another thing that I don't really want to talk about tonight, because it goes all over the place. Because before, I'm just going to say this once, before people got on my case for running with the rumor that there was trouble on set with Pattinson and Reeves, and that was all like, you know, pushed like, oh, this is just the tabloid comic book places. Now we come all the way to now, since the movie is in post-production, and you have trades like The Hollywood Reporter and Film Cinema and all these other people that are talking about the rumored issues on set between Reeves and Pattinson. But apparently that wasn't a thing. That was just really bad rumors that weren't true. But now you have the trades talking about it. Even it might be just a very slow week, but it can't be a slow week because you have the Batgirl news that just dropped. Seems like there might actually be some truth to the Batman issues. I guess we'll find out if, you know, Robert Pattinson decides to do another Batman movie after this one. But it's just interesting that people dismissed all that stuff that was rumored on set several months ago, or 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, and, you know, we're just like, no, that Matt Reeves is, or not Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson is an angel, even though he's playing a bat demon, you know? So, I mean, with rumors, there's always a little bit of grain of truth to them sometimes. Even if they sound like so far out there, there's always just a little bit of truth to them. Usually with rumors, people get stuff wrong with, like, how do I put this? You hear it from somebody, then you hear it from somebody else, and then some stuff gets lost in translation, like as it goes from different source to source to source, and then it gets to, like, the reporter, or it gets to the YouTuber or whatever. Or, like, stuff happened on set with the extras, and then they go to the form sites, and they can't remember all the specific details, and then it just kind of grows out of control like that. Like, the whole Jason Todd thing with the Suicide Squad being the Joker was a thing that somebody on set got wrong that was an extra, and then they ran to the internet with that, and then you had that film theory guy who jumped on it, and he expanded on it, and it was a, you know, complete, I wouldn't say fabrication, it was a screw-up, or not a screw-up. They were talking about Robin being involved, and Harley and Joker killing him, and him being I don't believe Jason. It was definitely the Dick Grayson thing, which they were trying to keep muddled, and then some stuff got lost in translation and it just became like this big, it's Jason Todd thing, and it obviously it wasn't. It was Grayson, which still makes me sad. But it's going to be an interesting next couple month or two. I think we're in for a pretty, I'd say, fun ride. I don't know how closely I'm going to follow this casting thing, because I have a feeling that if I continue to look at this, like right now, you've got Zoey attached to it, so it's totally fine for me to talk about and issue my opinion and my critique. But if Isabella or Leslie make it in, I can't say anything but good things, or I'm not allowed to report it, because there'll be weirdos like flagging my videos and trying to get me copyright strikes and all this other stuff. But that's just how the world works, I guess. So I'm a relic. But anyway, anybody have any remaining questions? And then I'm going to jump onto Twitch. Because I think I'm nearing the time where I wanted to go to Twitch anyway. I wanted to come over here, say hi to you guys, and, see what's going on. Static Shock would be nice. I agree. Static Shock would be amazing. Let's get Virgil. Do you think the kid who plays Dimitri in Cobra Kai could play a good Tim Drake? Dimitri. Cobra Kai. Why does that name sound familiar? Is he one of the nerd kids? Or is he one of the main leads? I haven't watched Cobra Kai since the 3rd season dropped. And I've been watching so many things since then that it's just kind of a blur with Daniel-san and Johnny. I can't remember. Is that the guy with the lip? I don't know. I'm excited about Titan Season 3. Is the Nightwing movie dead? No. It's back, sort of. Thoughts about the new Suicide Squad movie? I'm excited. I don't really like movies where all the characters are going to die, but I don't think they're going to die in ways that are going to deter me. Like, oh my gosh, this was horrific and I'm scarred for life. I think it's going to be like a dark comedy. Like, so many people are going to die trying to be the heroes to save the day. I think Harley might survive, but I don't know. I'm curious to see it. I think I get to see it on HBO Max, so I'll watch it on HBO Max. I don't want to go to the theater. I'm kind of done with theaters. I don't really want to. I've lived a whole year without theaters, saved a lot of money, and I haven't gotten sick. I haven't gotten the flu in a long time. Usually when I go to the theaters or I go to these conventions, I get sick. I get sick for quite a while. I haven't gotten sick. I like that. I haven't really had to lose any work at all. Aside from, breaking my foot or whatever. But I'm here. I got this cast thing on and, I'm able to do my job. I'm happy. So, yeah, if it's on HBO Max, I'll watch it. I thought Andy said he wanted to continue Keaton's story from Batman Returns. I don't know what's going on, Tyler. I really don't know. Keaton's Batcave kind of looks like a combination of Keaton's Batcave and Affleck's. I don't know what to tell you. I need to see more shots of the Batcave, and then I can tell you 100% that it's a recreation of the Keaton Cave. Parts of it look like the Keaton Cave. Parts of it look like Affleck's BVS Cave. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. There's a lot of different crazy rumors going on with that movie that it's so hard to keep track. One of them is, from Andy's own mouth, he says, it's a movie about two idiots working with one solar-powered superhero to save the day. So most people are translating that as Keaton and Ezra Miller are the two idiots that are traveling with this solar-powered being, which would be Supergirl, through the multiverse trying to fix everything, because Keaton and Batman and the Flash are the ones responsible for screwing up the multiverse. So they're bringing back Michael Keaton to make him an idiot, supposedly, is how Andy explained it. How Warner Brothers is explaining it is before the Warner Brothers Discovery thing, but they like to lie. I know a lot of people at WB that lie. How WB explained it to the press a year ago, is the story picks up with Keaton's Batman 30 years after Batman Returns. We get to see what Gotham City and Tim Burton's world is like 30 years later. Going to see the Batmobile again, which is true. We've seen the Batmobile on set. You're going to see the bat suit, somewhat true. The return suit, hybrid, which is not going to make Keaton claustrophobic because he can move his head, and some other stuff. And just a few other things, but for the most part, I think Andy is telling the truth, and I think Warner Brothers might be trying to bank on people's nostalgia. Like, it's a nostalgia trap. Why is there not a lot of people talking about Gotham Knights? I don't want to bring up any concerns, so let's talk about Gotham Knights in another podcast. There's a lot of hanky-panky going on with the game divisions right now. I had a lot of friends that lost their jobs at Traveler's Tales, the Lego people. There's talks about some stuff with some game developers, which I don't want to say anything because I'm not 100% sure about what's going on. But if Traveler's Tales is a big studio with WB and they're heavily impacted and being laid off and projects delayed, I don't know. I mean, it's too quiet with Gotham Knights. October is almost a lifetime away for any new details, especially when the game was supposed to come out this year. It's concerning. I don't think it's canceled, but it's too quiet. It's never good when it's this quiet. I will tell you that. I was a game journalist for 10 years. Quiet is bad with game development. I saw a lot of games get canceled or changed or remade. All kinds of stuff in my career of 10 years. And the one thing that my editor always told me as a reporter, the worst thing that can happen to a studio is silence. The worst thing that can happen to a game publisher is quiet. And Gotham Knights, not a peep since February or March, I think. Outside of maybe showing some fan art every once in a while, they are very, very, very quiet. Rocksteady too. I can't get anything out of my Rocksteady contacts. Nothing. Not even like a little hint about what's going on. I used to be able to get a little bit of crumbs. Nothing major, just stuff that they shared with other publications because they were openly talking a year before their game came out about what was coming out with their game, and either they have a complete gag order or there may be some things going on behind the scenes that we don't know. I don't know. But I can tell you from past experience, when they were doing Arkham City and Arkham Knight, even a year before the game came out, they were talking about it. They were talking about it on social media. They were talking about it to Game Press. We had an interview with one of them on a company that I moonlighted for. I didn't get to host the interview. I got to set it up, but I didn't get to be the one interviewing Sefton Hill. But they talked to our publication a year before the game came out, right around E3 and after. And it's just, on the WB Games side of things, it's quiet. Eerily quiet. The only WB Games company that has said anything edgewise is NetherRealms, that they're working on a new project. And they probably been working on a new project for a while, but they're done production completely on Mortal Kombat. It's over. Probably have some patches, whatever, but they're on to greener pastures, working on something else. When in reality, they've probably been working on whatever, either the DC versus Marvel game or Injustice 3 for quite some time. But now they're just like full into it. So, but I don't want to scare people. I'm just telling you, like, if you want my experience in this field, quiet is bad. It's good when they're talking, even if there's delays. It's bad when they stop talking because you don't know what's going on. It could be good, it could be bad, but usually when companies go quiet, like Factor 5 is no longer here. When the people who made the Mario and Luigi series, when they stopped talking to fans and other publishers and other people and stopped showing up at E3 and trade events, well, you know what happened to the developer of Mario and Luigi? They disappeared. Now Traveler's Tales is the Titanic almost. Scary times, guys and gals. Don't know. We'll see. I still think it's coming out. I just don't think it's going to come out next year, to be honest. I'm hoping I'm wrong. But quiet is bad. Anything new on Batman the Caped Crusader? Nope. The only reason they announced Batman the Caped Crusader is because of the buyout between Warner Media and Discovery. They basically put all their cards on the table to Discovery so that Discovery probably wouldn't break up teams. That's what an insider told me a while ago. But that's typical of mergers. Saban did the same thing. Saban announced like their video games and all this other stuff when they sold to Bandai Namco, Namco Bandai, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, wait, who owns Power Rangers? Not Bandai. Hasbro. Gosh, I'm tired. Hasbro and Saban. Saban sold to Hasbro. They used to be part of Namco Bandai, long time ago. Technically still part of Bandai in Japan right now, but that's Super Sentai. It is what it is. I don't have any friends left at Saban or Hasbro that worked for Saban. They're all gone. No friends at Enway. They're all gone. So, I mean, I'm just taking experience from what I see when companies merge and people are like, oh no, don't make a video on this. Nothing's going to happen. All these things you're wrong, K-Wing. You're just a relic. You're an angry white dude. It's like, I didn't realize I'm angry. I mean, I can't help my pale complexion, but still think I'm pretty smart when it comes to, what goes on in the industry, regardless of being old and pasty. So we'll see what happens. I feel horrible about the biggest upset for me is the Traveler's Tale stuff, because I knew so many good people, so many talented people just gone. And the fact that they have to act like everything is fine as they're leaving, it sucks. Because, I mean, these were people that I admired and looked up to and was like, I love Lego Batman 2 and Lego Batman and all the stuff you did with this. And, I got to meet and interview these people and get to know them over many, many years, and just gone. That's it. So I don't know what's going to go on with a lot of DC projects. I really feel like the Caped Crusader stuff, I mean, yeah, it's going to come out on Cartoon Network and HBO Max pretty soon. I would say probably, maybe we'll see a pilot at DC Fandom. I think that's the smartest thing they can do with that, is to kind of bury a lot of the really nasty rumors that are going to surface with the Matt Reeves movie. Is you got to get behind the rumors and you have to snuff them. So in order to get Bat people to kind of like not pay attention so much, they need to announce casting for the Caped Crusader, like September would be a good time. They need to have like some type of animation to show off at DC Fandom, as well as a release date, because right now it's just in development, the Caped Crusader, and it's like, that's great. You want to know what else is in development? The Hot Wheels Batman animated show that we've known about for 2 years, and we have a cast for that, which isn't all that impressive, but at least we have the cast, and we know the show is about the Batmobile and it can talk. Yay! So we'll see if Discovery knows what they're doing, honestly. I don't want to see... The worst case scenario is if Discovery fails, then Warner Brothers is going to get the chop. Like, it'll get divided up. Chop, 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 chop. Which would suck, because DC Comics would never be the same. Warner Brothers Pictures, animation, games, none of that would be the same. So everybody needs to hope that the Discovery buyout thing actually works, and basically Phoenix Downs DC, because they're kind of like on low health right now in terms of RPG, jargon. MCU can take a lot of bad hits right now. Like they have a lot of health. They grinded, Black Widow was a blow to them. Say the Eternals flops, and some of their other some of their other like Disney Plus shows don't do quite what they're expecting. Like Nintendo, Disney can take a lot of losses, and it won't impact them too much. Warner Brothers, on the other hand, they can't take another Heights movie this year. Suicide Squad has to do well. Whatever else they have coming out this year has to do well. All of their movies next year, including The Flash and The Batman, they have to be blockbusters. Because Warner Brothers was sold off because of their debt by AT&T, and they need to bounce back. Discovery might be the the people that are able to do it. They've got some great ideas. They're the ones fast-tracking the Batgirl thing, which is awesome. We'll just see if they are really out to make money. If they're out to make money, they'll cast Zoey. Because, I mean, everybody wants to see a comic-accurate version of Batgirl. If they are still the old Warner Media with Toby in charge, then they'll cast Leslie. And they'll do the whole Batwoman thing and fan fighting, and drama channels will make video after video, and Warner Brothers will just be, banking on outrage, basically, which is not healthy. It's not good for people to be angry and yelling and screaming at each other all the time. It blackens your soul. It makes you lame, mean, grumpy, depressed, all that stuff. I want to see Batman and Superman team up more than 30 minutes. Yeah, I agree. Some movies are a slap in the face. You're not wrong. They would be blockbusters, but not within this pandemic still going. I don't know. It's possible. I mean, Marvel's blaming all kinds of stuff right now, but they have the movie available right now on their platform, which is almost the same cost of going to the theater. It's a little cheaper to go to the theater, but if you add on popcorn, and if you're on a date with two people, I mean, if I take Amber to the movies, it's around $30 with popcorn, drinks, candy, the price of the movie, roughly around like $32.98, something like that. If you're going to the movie by yourself, then yeah, it's cheaper than seeing it on Disney Plus. But Disney Plus, they have all these people right now. So if there's people home from the pandemic, why aren't they watching? It's because the interest is kind of fading a little bit. And also, some of the PR for this movie has not been very good. Some of the actors attached have done Brie Larson stuff. The only reason Captain Marvel was a success, it was sandwiched between Endgame and Spider-Man. And the lie was told, you need to watch Captain Marvel in order to understand what's going on with Endgame and Spider-Man. And that wasn't true. There was a blurb that connected the Avengers movie, sort of. But you could completely have ignored the Captain Marvel movie, and probably it wouldn't have mattered. Unless, years later for Secret Invasion or something, yeah, you have to go back, watch how the Skrulls were introduced, but it's not like the Skrulls were coming out that year. The Skrulls are coming out in 2022, I think. I don't know. I think the Secret Invasion show is the only one I was interested in other than Loki and the Sam and Bucky show. I can't really think of any other. Oh, wait, nope. I'm interested to see what they do with She-Hulk, because it's supposed to be a legal comedy, and I like to laugh, so I hope it's really funny, and I hope that's successful, because I want to see I don't want to see comic accurate She-Hulk. I want to see, because they ruined She-Hulk. They basically made her Hulk with a wig. She's like fat and ugly now, and she used to be, pretty good looking for a green super mutant lady. In fact, she liked being in her form so much, she was always, She-Hulk. She was just as strong as Hulk, but she didn't look like Hulk had eaten, 300 chicken wings or something. So yeah, I take that back. I don't want her to be a comic accurate version of She-Hulk. I want her to be a fun version of She-Hulk from the 80s and 90s and 70s. Because I'd watch that show and be like, oh wow, this is funny. I also want to see her get mad when she's like losing the case or something, and like Hulk out a little bit and then start to kick butt in the courtroom. I know that probably sounds stupid, but a little bit of Phoenix Wright type stuff. Objection, and then she turns into the She-Hulk. I think that'd be funny. Like, Mark Ruffalo is working with her to keep her anger under control, and then she just accepts her anger, and, because he can't really be the Hulk anymore anyway, because he's one-arm Hulk, sort of. 300 wings isn't even that much. Okay, fine. 1,000 wings. 1,000 wings. How's that? How about my concept of numbers is not very good. I'm not good with numbers. I leave the books to Amber. We'll 3,000, 10,000 wings. How's that? Is that better? Does that sound more gluttonous now? Is that good? I eat 1,000 wings for breakfast. Holy cow. I worry about your health. My theory is that the Joker will only be seen from afar in a shadow. Yeah, nope. Joker, you're not going to see him. Jason is going to get killed by Joker. And he is a stunt actor. There might be laughter involved. I don't know. The trailer, they couldn't use laughter. So they're probably going to add laughter. You can't... I hope that Mark Hamill does the voiceover. Just like he did for the Birds of Prey show in the 2000s. That would be awesome. Or John DiMaggio, I think is his name, would be a good one too. But I don't... You'll just probably hear a clown laughing and killing Jason. I'm talking about the Titan show now. I can't eat 10,000 chicken wings. I'm saying... Never mind. Never mind. I've heard that people are scared of success. I have heard that people are scared of the success for the Suicide Squad because it's a lackluster marketing. Yeah, there's really no marketing for the Suicide Squad at all. I would love it to be a success because Warner Brothers needs a win. They had a great cast. They have a good story. They have a great director, regardless of his weird pedo bearness. I think that the movie could be really good. All depends if people show up for the movie. I mean, Disney... Here's the difference between HBO Max and Disney. You have to pay $30 to watch a movie from, Disney's new release on their service. HBO Max, you only have to pay for the service, and then you get to watch the movie for 2 weeks. And number-wise, they haven't released the Snyder Cut stuff because they don't want the public to know, which is very telling. Discovery is still trying to get them to do it, and Warner Media is like, no, you can't look at our coloring book. We're telling you it's this, and you're not allowed to look at the books. And everywhere else, I mean, it's top seller on Amazon. It's killing it over in London or England. It's killing it in China in terms of like digital stuff. It's doing really well all around the world, which is very telling. America is the only one that's trying to be like, shh, this movie was terrible. Shh, nobody's going to watch this 4-hour thing. Shh, we don't need to tell you anything. Just take us at our word. Because my uncle works here and he knows that the numbers are bad. My uncle said so, so it's true. That's how I know. That's what Warner Brothers is doing. And the rest of the world is like, wow, this Snyder Cut thing is actually pretty cool. We want to see more of this. I mean, we might not see that Superman movie come to be. We'll see. It all depends what Discovery does. The Superman movie will happen if they tokenize Batgirl, then the Superman movie will happen, and Discovery is no different than Warner Media, and they'll both bomb. Or you're going to see a course correct, and Discovery is going to be like, we want to make money. This is what we want to do to make money. Henry Cavill has a contract for 3 more DC films. Zoe is our Batgirl, even though I was really pulling for... what's her name? Nebula. Because Nebula really wanted to do it. And personally, out of Zoe and Isabella, I think that Nebula would have been a better Batgirl. She has the drive for it. She has an understanding for the character, just like Henry Cavill. She's a comic nerd. She has the stunts and the martial arts to back it up. She's funny, intelligent, pretty. Those are all the great makings of a Batgirl / Oracle. Zoe and Isabella are young and they're starting out. But I would say that the Nebula actress would probably be a much better Batgirl than any one of them. Because she's pretty amazing. I really like her in the Jumanji movies too. She really surprised me in those movies. I was like, whoa, awesome. Yeah, well, she's not going to be... she's not Garrett. She's gone. She's not even... She wanted to... This is a thing! This is the thing, you guys. Nebula, actress, wanted to produce, direct, and star in the Batgirl movie. And she wanted to help write it. She wanted to do a Batgirl Year One thing, which they are essentially doing. But, I mean, that's the type of passionate individual you want to play that character. Just like Ben Affleck wanted to star, direct, and produce his own Batman movie. It's like people are trying to throw money at Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers is just smacking it away and like, no, get your money away from me. We were going to do it our way. And their way sucks. They don't know what they're doing. It's like they didn't even go to film school. They probably didn't. Those executives have no idea what they're doing. They didn't even job shadow Kevin Feige in a way. Kevin Feige, you know, he worked his way up from an intern on those Fox movies for Marvel, and then he became the big cheese at the MCU, you know, with the Avengers stuff. But he did the work. He was there for the really bad stuff, and then he knew how to make the good stuff later. You got these people at DC. They have a couple people that were around for some of the early good Batman movies, but they're over on HBO Max, or they might even be over at Netflix now. I don't know. Warner Brothers are idiots. If Discovery is able to turn the ship around, but I feel like the Three Stooges are still going to be in charge at Warner Brothers, even though the Discovery CEO is supposed to be in charge. So you'll know what's going to happen. If they tokenize Batgirl, the movie's going to suck, because they're going to do everything they can to just like drive everybody crazy with outrage on Twitter. They're going to have the most out there script that you can think of. They're going to adapt the worst Batgirl comic book you can think of the past 10 years that was like really, really in your face about stuff. Or they could go with their current plan right now, which is Zoey is the strongest contender right now. And the script is based after Batgirl Year One, which is a fan-loved storyline that is a great launching point for a Batgirl first movie that branches out into so many other possibilities of Batgirl films, whereas the other stuff, not so much. So we'll see. And that's all I got. I think I exhausted this topic as best I could. I went all over the place, but I had fun. And now I'm going to Twitch. So, yeah. That's it. That's all. Emma Stone would be a good Batgirl. Yeah. K-Wing, do you think if the Suicide Squad movie is bad, WB will go down the hill? No. But they'll point out, like, look, we made a movie that wasn't tokenized and all this other stuff, and it still sucked. You did all this stuff, and the movie was still bad. You tried to make a good movie, and nobody cared. So we're going to do whatever we want. We're going to do Black Superman. We're going to tokenize Batgirl. We're going to change Blue Beetle. We're going to mess with all these other movies because it doesn't matter. Fans don't care, and we want to attract a new audience that may or may not buy our movie. That's what they'll say. So if they go with Zoey, then likely the Batgirl movie, as long as fans support it, it should do really well. If they go with Isabella, the fans should still support it, and it should be pretty good because Isabella is a very nice lady. She's never chastised or attacked fans or blamed them for her film's failures or anything like that. She's a sweetheart, and I think she would make a great Barbara Gordon, who's also a sweetheart. Haley and Leslie, I don't think they would be a very good embodiment for Babs. And I think that the movie would become like Batwoman, the TV show. So Haley is out. Leslie is still in the running, so we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, guys, if I stay here, I'm going to exhaust myself. And I want to answer more questions, but I don't think I can. I got to get over to Twitch, play some Zelda. If you guys are interested in that, Twitch TV/Kwings Gaming. And I'm going to go play Zelda. So yeah, thanks so much for listening. Have a wonderful, fantastic night. Stay safe, everybody. Keep those hands washed. Stay away from people as best you can. A lot of crazy people out there trying to get in your face and act like everything's fine. And when everything's all rampant again. So I want you all to stay safe because I want to see you next time. And when Gotham Knights comes out someday, we're going to bring this channel back. But if you guys have more topics you want me to talk about, feel free to submit them to my Twitter, and I'll do more podcasts for you guys. But podcast is the safest thing that I can do on this channel. I don't get DMCA'd. I don't get copyright strikes. it's just me talking, and if you guys like it, cool. If not, hey, it's the best I can do right now. All right, guys, take care. See you on Twitch.